Our next guest is an Oscar-nominated actor, playwright, filmmaker, known for his unforgettable performances in The Social Network, Zombieland, and the Now You See Me franchise. And now he's bringing tears and laughter in his latest film. It's called A Real Pain. Let's take a look.
Our grandma is from here, so Dave arranged for us to join this geriatric Polish tour with you fine people.
Word of warning, this will be a tour about pain.
Our grandmother and Benji were super close.
I mean, she was the coolest. I've just been in a real funk, I guess, since she died. Just haven't,
Jesse Eisenberg, writer, director, star of the film, joins us now in studio to discuss the story of two cousins as they embark on a deeply personal exploration of grief and identity in Poland. Jesse, welcome. Thank you for coming in and talking about this. This is a really unique,
Thank you. Yeah.
Cool film. I was able to see it last night. It's called A Real Pain, and that feels like a loaded title. Obviously, it is. It's a play on words.
Yeah.
Tell me about how you got to that.
Yeah, so the story's about these two cousins who have grown apart a little bit, and Kieran Culkin, who brilliantly plays my cousin, kind of like has historically gotten on my nerves a little bit and is kind of getting worse, which accounts for this schism between the two of us. And then over the course of the movie, the characters are going on this tour. It's like a tour, like a Holocaust tour.
Right.
And so the movie's title starts to change and starts to ask, like, what is real pain? Are these two characters actually in pain, or is only, you know, historical pain valid? And by the end of the movie, I think you feel a different feeling about the title, because you're starting to think of what is real pain, and these two guys, and especially Kieran's character, is in real pain.
What inspired you to do this kind of film?
You know, my family's from Poland. A lot of this movie is kind of like autobiographical. We actually filmed this movie at the house my family lived in up until World War II.
Oh, the number 25? Was that the...
That's my family's house from, you know, up until 1939.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, so a lot of the movie, a lot of the stories the characters tell are, you know, stories that I've heard growing up. And I just thought it'd be really interesting to tell a story about kind of different kinds of grief, because I walk around the world. I have a very lucky life. I'm like a movie actor. It's like I won 10 lotteries in a row to have a movie career. It's so rare. And yet I walk around kind of like I'm a depressive. I walk around like miserable, and I always wonder, how can I possibly feel any self-pity? My life is so good. Why do I feel bad about myself, for myself? Why am I embarrassed? Why am I self-conscious?
Well, there's so many people who feel like that.
Yes, of course. And I kind of feel then guilty, like, oh, I shouldn't have this feeling because my family suffered a genocide. Why do I have I should be kissing the ground every day, you know?
There's this generational trauma that you feel, especially if you're Jewish and you're watching this. I've been to Majdanek. We were talking about this, where you filmed this. It was prolific isn't even the right word, but it was a really bad concentration camp at the time, and it was only 2 miles outside of Lublin, Poland, which is where you filmed. I mean, you're so good with comedy. How was walking the line between using comedy, as you do well in this movie, with this one of the most horrific pieces of history that you can conjure up? Yeah.
You know, I've been writing like plays for 20 years, and they all have this kind of tone, which is I'm trying to attack some bigger theme, but through like kind of just through a comic lens. And for me, it feels like just a way that a movie can feel, or a play can feel, accessible and inviting and warm. I also didn't want to make like another Holocaust movie that feels self-important and sanctimonious and makes the audience feel guilty about something they weren't involved in. Or I didn't want it to feel academic. I wanted it to feel like what I felt traveling to these places, which is a mixture of, like, you know, I traveled there with my wife in 2008, and my wife and I, you know, we would be joking around. We would go to these sites, have incredible reverence for it. We'd cry afterwards. Then we'd be joking around at night, because you have to, you know, ground yourself in some kind of reality. And so I just wanted to tell the kind of story that felt real to me, as opposed to like a very heavy-handed, melodramatic Holocaust.
It's so funny because you told that story. The way you just described it is the movie.
Exactly that.
And you certainly don't have to be Jewish to like this movie.
No, exactly. I mean,
it's a relationship movie.
Exactly. I mean, my favorite responses to the movie have been people saying, I'm going to Ireland next year because I just saw your movie, and I never realized that, you know, I could just go and visit where my family's from.
Look into my history.
Exactly. There's a character in the movie on the tour with us who's Rwandan. He's from Africa, and he's based on my friend who's Rwandan, who did this same trip because, you know, he wanted to understand where he came from. And so, yeah, the movie is not specifically about Jewish things. It's about a relationship, and they're looking at Jewish history.
Jesse Eisenberg, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Really do appreciate it.
Thanks.
The movie's great. I enjoyed watching it last night. I enjoyed thinking about it and taking me back to my time in Poland
Thanks
as well.
for your work there.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. And A Real Pain is in theaters now.